哇，你看的，它在桥上的，不要是没得虫的，满天飞舞的。
In recent months, China has been the stage for some very strange phenomena. The sky turning completely red, swarms of insects covering entire cities, clouds with very unusual shapes, villages waking up to multiple suns in the sky, and signs that many believe are not just coincidences. These videos have gone viral, with many people saying they are signs of the end times. But does this have anything to do with what's described in the Book of Revelation? Or could it be related to the biblical plagues of Egypt? Or perhaps they are just natural events? We're going to understand this better by the end of this video. And even if you don't believe in prophecies, end times, or anything like that, stick with me, because I guarantee that the phenomena you're going to see in this video will impress you a lot. Today, we are going to understand what is behind each of these phenomena, whether this has happened in the past, and why so many people are scared, saying it would be the end.
In
recent months, videos have started circulating, showing scenes that seem to come from another world. Cities covered by swarms of insects, fish desperately leaping out of the water, and the sky displaying very strange shapes that at first no one could properly explain. But what is really happening? Starting with the swarms of whiteflies, these videos you are seeing are real, and most of them were recorded in the same region. On September 7, 2025, in Hunan Province, central China, several videos captured massive swarms of flying insects, identified by experts as whiteflies or leafhoppers, flying under city lights at night and forming very dense clouds similar to locust plagues. Many people online began comparing the phenomenon to a very famous biblical account where God sends a similar plague to Egypt to make Pharaoh free the Hebrew people from the army, and the locusts covered the entire surface of the land, so much so that the land was darkened, devouring everything that was left from the hailstorm. And let's face it, as harmless as these insects may be, it's pretty scary, and I would also be very concerned if I were in the middle of such a situation, because if the insects are behaving this way, probably something strange is happening. Whiteflies are common agricultural pests in more humid regions, but they have been spreading more aggressively now due to ecological imbalance and the excessive use of pesticides. These insects reproduce very quickly and can cover entire cities, creating an almost apocalyptic appearance. But according to experts, it's just a sign of the environment trying to balance itself again. As for the crows, they are animals that many people associate with bad omens, signs of bad things that are going to happen or have already happened. This negative view dates back to ancient cultures. In the Middle Ages, they were seen as companions of witches, messengers of death, or symbols of darkness. Horror films and series have also reinforced this image. The Night of the Crows, The Crow from 1994, and even Game of Thrones, where crows delivered messages of fate. But the truth is that there is no evidence that crows are related to any such events. In reality, they are very intelligent animals, very docile, and can even imitate the human voice perfectly.
Hola. Hola. Hola, cariño.
Crows are also extremely sensitive to climate changes and electromagnetic fields. So it's understandable that people get scared when they see many crows acting this way and migrating in large flocks. These are signs of nature. It could be just a different seasonal migration, but it could also be some natural disaster about to happen. Another case that drew a lot of attention was fish fleeing the water. In July 2025, at Lake Anxian in Kunming in Yunnan, viral videos showed hundreds to thousands of silver carps jumping frantically out of the water for about a minute, creating quite a chaotic spectacle. The same situation was seen happening in other lakes in very close time periods. Residents reported concerns about earthquakes, and in the comments, you always see someone claiming that it would be a sign of something bad about to happen. But Angsan Lake authorities explained the phenomenon as a result of recent heavy rains that reduced the oxygen in the water and forced the fish to seek air at the surface. This occurred in at least 3 points in the lake, with fish emerging in groups of 300 to 400. The most accepted explanation is that in some places, pollution or a drop in oxygenation in the water occurred. But as I said, there are those who see this as a sign that something bigger is changing, as if nature itself is trying to warn us. Phenomena in the sky. I've covered so far some of the most curious phenomena that cause panic, fear, and led many people to associate them with the end of times. The apocalypse is even seen as a bad omen, a sign of bad things. Even knowing the scientific basis and the possible explanations behind these events, these things can still indeed scare you a lot. Even me, in fact, especially when they are phenomena that happen in the sky. Natural phenomena involving space, the sky, and the weather have always scared us and have always been related to religions, beliefs, and mythologies in various cultures. The Book of Revelation itself mentions several times weather phenomena involving heavenly bodies as a form of divine punishment or testimony. So, due to the vastness of the universe and the lack of control we have over it, it is entirely understandable the fear that such a sight can cause. In July 2025, in Chengdu, a video went viral showing what seemed like 7 suns shining together in the sky in the province of Xinjiang. It looked like a scene from science fiction or a bad omen. The locals stopped everything to film, and the comments exploded with people saying that 7 suns would be the apocalypse, or that it was God sending a message to the modern pharaoh. Last year, more villages in China woke up to 3 pillars of light in place of the sun we are used to. A truly breathtaking sight. What was supposed to be just another normal day turned into a grand visual spectacle and a moment of great fear for many people. The scientific explanation is that it is a very rare phenomenon called sundog, where ice crystals in the atmosphere refract the light and create several phantom suns. This all happened on a cold summer day and lasted a few minutes, and many people were surprised and awestruck by it. It seems like a sign of the end, but apparently it's just nature playing with mirrors. What causes fear in this case, besides being very strange, obviously, is that the phenomenon is extremely rare, and there are few historical records of something so intense. In ancient China, there are accounts of several suns appearing in the sky, being interpreted as omens of change in the empire, usually announcing the fall of a ruler or the beginning of a new era. And if you have ever seen a solar eclipse in person, you know how strange it is for the weather to suddenly change. The birds go silent, the temperature drops. For a few minutes, it seems like time stops, and that's why for millennia, humans have associated changes in the stars with divine or spiritual messages. It was as if the sky was speaking and the earth stopped to listen. The sky turned red. In May 2024, the sky over the city of Zhejiang, in Zhejiang province, China, turned completely red during the night. Thousands of people took to the streets, frightened. Capturing the phenomenon with their cell phones. Social media was flooded with videos and comments, many saying it looked like the beginning of the apocalypse. The sky's hue ranged from blood red to a very intense orange. For a few minutes, it seemed as if the entire world was engulfed in fire. In ancient history, there are accounts of skies suddenly turning red in various nearby countries. There are mentions of nights when the sky shone like blood, interpreted by imperial astrologers as omens of war and natural disasters. A notable case was the 9 nights starting September 10, 1770, when the skies over China, Korea, and Japan turned red. For nearly 10 days, the skies were completely red. This, theoretically, was caused by solar activity. And of course, many recalled the words from the book of Revelation, chapter 6, verse 12. And there was a great earthquake. The sky turned black like sackcloth made of goat hair, and the moon turned blood red. This verse speaks of the opening of the sixth seal, a moment of chaos and transformation in the biblical narrative. But was it just a coincidence, or a sign that the planet is responding to some human action? According to the Dio Chang Meteorological Bureau, the explanation for the phenomenon was quite simple. The red color was caused by the reflection of lights from fishing boats, which used extremely strong lamps to attract squid at night. The light, reflecting off the low clouds and fog, created that surreal effect. Even with the scientific explanation, many people remained skeptical. After all, it wasn't the first time something like this had happened. The fact is that although science explains the phenomenon of light refraction, the emotional and symbolic impression still remains. A red sky always awakens something primitive in us: fear, reverence, the feeling that the world can change at any moment. These phenomena are not limited to the sky alone. China has been the stage for absolutely surreal clouds, so perfect and mysterious that they seem to have come out of a science fiction movie or even a celestial vision. In July 2025, for example, the sky over Lianyungang in Jiangsu province was taken over by an immense cloud shaped like a flying saucer. It hovered over the mountains for hours, motionless, with contours so defined it looked like some strange object landing. On social media, comments ranged from confirmed UFO to angels descending from the sky, as in the apocalypse. But what people were seeing was a phenomenon known as a lenticular cloud, a very rare formation that occurs when the wind encounters a mountain and begins to rise, cooling rapidly. The moisture and air condense and form these smooth, rounded layers, resembling several stacked disks. It's a type of cloud that is more common in mountainous regions, but this cloud in Lianyungang stands out for being too large and very perfect, strangely symmetrical. The kind of thing that makes even those who believe in science take a second look at the sky. And this one wasn't the only one. In Jiangxi, in eastern China, a waterfall of clouds descended over the mountains in 2024, looking like a curtain pouring into the sky. Meanwhile, in Xinjiang, Tibet, residents reported clouds that fell to the ground, covering entire villages as if the sky had descended to earth. These scenes, filmed and shared by millions, aroused as much fascination as fear, especially among the more religious people who saw in them possible omens of future events. But in the end, it's all just the wind being an artist. The mountains shape the air like a sculptor shapes clay. Temperature, pressure, and humidity combine in such a precise balance that, for a few moments, nature ends up creating forms that seem impossible. It's curious that when humans look to the sky and see something they don't understand, our instinct is to seek meaning, whether in angels, our religious beliefs, or even in signs of the end. And this reminds us of a very simple thing: the earth is alive. The air we breathe also dances, also paints, and transforms. And we talk a lot about the end of times, with a very Christian perspective, in fact. The apocalypse, the trumpets, the plagues, the final judgment. But the curious thing is that this idea that nature warns when something grand is about to happen is not exclusive to the Bible. In ancient China, the sky also spoke, and it was the emperor who paid attention. The ancient Chinese believed in the so-called mandate of heaven, a principle that said the emperor could only rule as long as he was in harmony with the universe. If the ruler became corrupt, cruel, or lost spiritual balance, the sky itself would start to give signs. Eclipses, floods, plagues, earthquakes, storms, blood moons. All of this was interpreted as a divine warning that the throne was in danger. Ancient chronicles tell that when a dynasty was about to fall, the sky would darken in broad daylight, red rains would fall from nowhere, and comets would streak across the sky. And in a way, it's beautiful to realize that both Christianity and ancient Chinese thought shared the same idea, that the physical and spiritual worlds are deeply connected, and nature reacts to human imbalances. So perhaps the fear we feel when the sky turns red, or clouds form angel shapes, or when crows move in large flocks, is an ancestral memory, something that comes from billions of years of history, from many beliefs that remind us that the Earth also has a language. Nature speaks to us, especially when something is about to happen. Well, that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed this video. Another video from the channel is appearing here on your screen. If you want to keep watching our content, click on it and come with me.